Want to hear about the wild adventure? Over a month later, Sister Wang got an invite from client Shangzhen, while John received a mysterious phone call. On the other end, Long Ji asked if he wanted in on a 30 million deal. Without a second thought, John ditched Sister Wang and accepted. John chuckles. Who would buy 2 billion in insurance? At least shoot for 5 billion. Who's that heartless? Long Ji smirked, and John quickly looked over. What? Isn't that his buddy Yon? Long Ji asked John, Yun? John happily agreed. Absolutely, let's go. Gas cars are slower than a turtle. The first time he missed the swimmer dad, John hesitated then drove back to hit him again. Long Ji got out to check and was seen by the swimmer's friend. Even worse, swimmer dad still wasn't dead. The two had no choice but to toss him in the trunk and drive off. Long Ji covered swimmer dad's mouth, trying to make it look like a suicide, and John immediately yelled, "No choking death allowed. The insurance company isn't a bunch of pushovers." As he finished, John's phone buzzed, and Sister Wang went off, asking what on earth he was. The client is waiting to pay. Hearing client, John instantly hatched a plan and told Sister Wang to bring the cash cow back to town. And to do exactly as he said, Sister Wang immediately yanked Shangzhen up from the bed, while John ditched Long Ji. They drove down the must-take road back to town, and John took swimmer dad to the overpass while Sister Wang kept texting, watching the car get closer. John scooped up swimmer dad and tossed him off, and just a couple of days later, the controversial winter window event came to light in full force. Swimmer dad's body was found, and the insurance company refused to pay. Long Ji angrily asked John how he handled things, and John said that dumb kid was way too amateur. I told him to dig deeper, but he wouldn't listen. What could I do? Long Ji urged John to sort it out quickly since he was eager to return home. John asked back, why the rush? You didn't do something again, did you? The body of the rookie cop was found. Long Ji was caught on camera. Meanwhile, Yon was practicing various murder techniques in the parking lot. He precisely calculated the time for the bag grab and set a loud ringtone. Long Ji arrived on time, while Yon used going home as an excuse to start the car. They drove towards Paju, and John followed behind. Just as they entered the highway, police blocked the road. Heart racing, Young asked the officer, what's going on? And a wanted poster floated in front of him. A few days ago, 2 bodies were found in Paju, Sister Wang and Shangzhen. The police are currently on the lookout for John, and the time is now 1 a.m. Young parked in front of an abandoned building. Long Ji asked, where's the cash? Young opened the trunk and set the timer. He grabbed the bag, returned to the driver's seat, money in Long Ji's hands. The countdown ticked as Long Ji opened it. Inside was a pile of useless paper. Just then, a piercing alarm suddenly went off. Young's hammer was forcefully snatched away, and Long Ji knocked him unconscious with just a few heavy blows. John called asking Long Ji where he was, and Long Ji sent him a location. By the time John arrived, it was already 3 a.m, and the sky was panicking. Now everyone was talking about him online. What a mess. Long Ji didn't seem too worried and told John to follow him. The boat was already booked. John, yeah, what about the money? Long Ji stood up and said they'd been fooled. John looked at Tadabayon. That guy's stock price matches his good luck. Maybe that's just fate. Just then, Long Ji's artery was sliced. Blood gushed out. John pushed Long Ji down the elevator shaft, then removed his jacket to go downstairs for gasoline. He left Young's Rolex upstairs and filled him up with gasoline. And Young cried, my insurance will be credited soon. John said, I know I'll use the money wisely. Observing that Young had become motionless, as if everything had settled, John planned to leave. The fate played a massive joke on him as he found dozens of TNT barrels in the abandoned building, just as John was leaving. Luckily, he didn't get too hurt, but unfortunately, Death felt it wasn't enough and came back for round 2. When John woke up, the taxi had already arrived in Paju. He grabbed Young's key card, entered the place, picked up a bottle of wine, and downed some painkillers, making a noise of satisfaction as Jian opened the medicine cabinet in the hospital. He pulled out a bottle of fentanyl, then called Uncle Bai for a favor. The next day, John was woken up by a call. The insurance manager asked him, I have good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear? John thought for a moment and said, good news first. The manager said, your dad's 500 million insurance has arrived. John asked, what about the bad news? The manager replied, it's not in your account. The client left while donating everything to the John cursed loudly, bolting out to chase down the money, only to run straight into Uncle Bai, who was actually after debts himself, completely ignoring Uncle. The nun in the church explained, this money will be used to help patients. John pulled off his mask and declared him the patient. The nun handed over. Swimmer dad explicitly stated that this money belongs to the church. John was fuming and turned to see Jian sitting not far away. Jian stayed silent. John pulled out some painkillers, took a sip of the holy water at the door, and after stepping out for a while, he felt woozy and wandered into the alley where he hit Swimmer dad. Flashes of the killer danced in his mind, when suddenly he heard footsteps behind him. Jian had followed him again. John couldn't take it any longer and turned around, trying to explain to Jian, you're not Yon. The Yon you knew has been dead for a while. But Jian retorted, I just heard everything loud and clear. John demanded Swimmer dad's insurance money, but collapsed in trash after feeling dizzy. Jian pulled a scalpel from his pocket. Alright, if you enjoyed this crazy tale, don't Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.